We now return to Piracy Watch on DZRJ 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines. Here's your host, Sarah Jane Sugitan.
Welcome back to Piracy Watch, where we are still talking about copyright and registration with the National Library. For all of you out there who's online, please check out the facebook.com/DZRJ810AM. We're also available online. We have live streaming. This is live streaming, correct? www.ustream.tv/channel/DZRJ-810-AM. Wow, that's a mouthful. Again, that's ustream.tv/channel/DZRJ-810-AM. And again, we're on Facebook. It's DZRJ810AM, the voice of the Philippines. Okay, we're browsing through the IP code right now, and we're looking at the works that you can copyright and register with the National Library, aside from books and articles and newspapers. Ayan, so kasama pala yan dun sa pwedeng i-deposit. Lectures, ayan, whether or not in writing or material form. So it can be tape recorded. For example, if you have a tape recorded lecture or a tape recorded copy, for example, of this show, we can deposit that with the National Library for copyright registration. Letters, yeah, so you have love letters in the National Library.
We get applications for registration of
letters. Okay, for letters. What else? Musical compositions, so arrangements are also deposited with the National Library. Works of drawing, painting, architecture, art, sculpture. The actual sculpture is not required to be deposited with the National Library, because we're sure that the artists want to have exercise possession over that sculpture. So you can just take pictures of at all
every angle.
And every angle of the sculpture, as well as the painting. So ganun din ba, front, back?
Actually, wala naman, just the front. Kasi front lang yung painting.
Baka sa likod din kailangan.
Unless dalawahan siya, parang yung mga one, di ba meron yung one luna na front and back.
No, front and back. Oh, ayan. So, so photographs of paintings, works of architecture. For example, you have building plans. Yeah. So that can be copyrighted or copyright registered rather with the National Library. Also maps. They already have, diba? In your archive, maps, charts, drawings or plastic works, photos, audiovisual works,
yes,
movies.
We do get movies.
This means movies, diba? And cinematographic works.
Movies and actually television. Some of the television shows, yung mga telenovela.
So you have discs, tapes in the archive.
CDs.
CDs in the archive. At the moment, they are still in the process of digitizing the copyrighted works.
Actually,
archive.
What we're digitizing at the moment is just the records pa lang.
The
certificates, the applications, kasi medyo yung works, hindi pa siya nauumpisahan.
So the game plan is to first digitize the database.
Yes, the database.
Meaning the
first.
name of the artist and then the description of the work.
The copyright owner.
The copyright owner, yun pala yung tamang term. And also computer programs. So this can be deposited with the National Library. You only pay a 200 peso application fee and fill out a form. If you are in the provinces, because the National Library is now currently just operating in Manila, I mean, they can only accept works in the National Library. So send your application form, downloaded from their website. It's nlp.gov.ph, web.nlp.gov.ph, National Library of the Philippines. There's a form, and then you can mail it by courier or registered mail. And also remit the 200 peso application form by postal money order. And Miss Michelle Flor definitely will be the one entertaining your applications, and then 1 month later you will receive your certificate of registration that you will have that you can use against infringers. Ayan. Yeah, like just diba, it's better to safeguard your copyright rather than sleep on it, and then before you know it, someone else already owns the copyright. And yesterday, as I said, in the Phil Calls forum with some publishers and writers, they're saying that that's one of their more common problems. They sign an agreement with the publisher or their producer, and what they don't do is read the fine print, which requires the copyright owner to license or assign all rights
yes,
to the publisher or the producer. So be vigilant about that. As writers, do read the fine print.
Also, kasi we also get we ask for copies when the one claiming copyright is not the author. Sometimes there's a you read your contract kasi sometimes there's a term, it's only for 5 years, for example. The contract is existing for only 5 years. And then sometimes we get questions, magpupunta doon yung author kasi daw ganito ganyan, and then you look at the contract, 5 years mo lang pala binigay lampas na yung 5 years, so pwede mo siyang kasi they don't even get copies of the contract sometimes.
But they sign the contract, diba? But they sign the contract, so that's something that can be prevented with vigilance. And as Phil Coles was saying, it really struck me yesterday. One of the speakers said that copyright is a human right, and in fact it is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It said there that all authors and creative artists, all creators basically have the right of ownership over their works. Kasi unlike other forms of property like cell phone or a car or a parcel of land, iba yung when you write, it's like, your child. So you cannot let your child be distorted. For example, your song be distorted or be copied without your permission, diba? So iba yung level of relationship between the author and the creation. So that is why we are on a campaign to promote copyright, especially since April. We're celebrating the World Book Day and the World Intellectual Property Day, on April 26. So the IPO is going to come out with a special section in the broadsheets to educate everyone about intellectual property. So Ms. Michelle, any last message for our listeners out there who'd like to, of course, protect their copyrights, or who are still in the course of learning that this is their right?
Well, we encourage you to register your works with our office. You can reach us at, if you have questions, you can reach me at 524-1970. I'm there Monday to Friday. Okay. Yeah, kasi it's a government agency, may pasok po kami only Mondays to Fridays. That's right. So next week we're going to tackle of course copyright violations. So what are the forms of violations? How can copyright be enforced? What are the remedies, legal remedies ng mga authors and artists once you feel that your rights, or rather copyrights, are violated? As we said earlier, when it comes to copyright, there is an economic aspect, diba? And there's also a moral aspect. So it's a bundle of rights. Kapag economic, we refer to economic or material interest. For example, so you can assign it, license it, you can waive it altogether if you don't want to earn anything from your copyrighted work. But as to the moral right, that will always remain with the creator, with the author. Okay? And that moral right means the right of paternity. So, as we said, the copyrighted work, the book that you created, the song that you created is your child. We liken it to a child, and you can allow it to be distorted with your permission. You can waive your byline. For example, you don't want to be recognized as the creator of that work. Pwede rin naman yon. So that falls within the domain of moral rights under copyright. On the other hand, economic, anything compensation related, material interest, you want to license it, trademark it, want to sell it, disown it, so that falls within your bundle of rights as an author or creator. Okay, join us again next Tuesday for another edition of Piracy Watch. Incidentally, the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines has a twin TV show Friday nights on GNN, Global News Network, over Destiny, Channel 8. And I'd like to, of course, acknowledge the support of David Charlton of David Salon and the World Intellectual Property Organization, the National Library, for which we had a memorandum of agreement with you, deputizing the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines to start receiving copyrighted works for registration. Yes. But still, yung archiving will show it back to the We're actually still working on the details.
Ayan. So, you will soon be able to register or deposit your works with the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines under the deputization of the National Library.
The drive is to make it easier for provincial applicants because you have satellite offices. Yes,
IPO is now in 10 offices nationwide, from Baguio to General Santos. So more information on that on www.ipophil.gov.ph, and for the National Library, it's NLP, National Library of the Philippines, .gov.ph. Okay, so we've run out of time. I'd like to thank everyone who sponsors this show, aside from the IPO, the WIPO, and David Salon. Mr. Harry Tambuatco, hello, for asking the question on what is the platform for digitization. No, because it's the advent of technology, and people search information online. So the National Library is making moves on that. Okay, so join us again next week for another edition of Piracy Watch right here on DZRJ 8:10 a.m., the voice of the Philippines.
You have been listening to Piracy Watch with attorney Sarah Jane Sugitan. Piracy Watch, an exclusive presentation of DZRJ 8:10 a.m., the voice of the Philippines.